Development. We do have a question on consent item J, and I believe Ms. Santangelo had a question. I think this is appropriate time, please.
So I was approached by some of the artists and the executive director at Studio Channel Islands with a few concerns from past years. And so I read through the permit really carefully. Stand by so I can get to it. So I think it's probably best just to get into some of the specifics of what the concerns were. One of them was the public parking off of Elm, which is at the back of the studios. And it's listed in the permit as a place for volunteer and vendor parking. But that is within the rental area of Studio Channel Islands, and they aren't made aware of that. And apparently that's where they've been putting dumpsters for the Fiesta, and that is the only place where the artists are able to park. They don't mind giving that up, but they do mind being pulled out of what they're doing and told to move right away and hurry up. And, you know, there was just no communication about that. So they would appreciate some communication about the use of that back lot. The other concern is the grass area in the front, which is in front of the gallery area. That is also their rental property, and they're concerned about rides that are placed there. And when I read through the permit, it says that the rides, or the application, that the rides would be in the parking lot. So they're concerned about the rides on the grassy area and all the cabling and electrical that creates an issue for them. And then the last thing is one of the things that's been happening, I guess, during Fiesta is that people that go from where the kid area, the kid rides are, end up kind of walking toward or into the studios to try to use restrooms, and then kind of gather and go through where the studios are and walk through the courtyards and things like that. And so they're wondering if there's any way to protect that area, put some barriers up so that people aren't just wandering through the studios, not inside them, but through the courtyards where they do have artwork and displays and things like that set up. So I'm not sure I don't know how to handle that with the permit, if we just request that. I'm not sure, but I thought it was worth, the Studio Channel Island, it's a big area right there, and those studios are businesses for those artists, and so they recognize and they fully, these concerns, they love the Fiesta, they want to be a part of it, they have no problem with it, and they want to work with the Fiesta Committee. They just felt like they wanted to be heard about some of their concerns and have more improved communication.
I think Mrs. Craven had a question.
During Fiesta, I have not been up in that part back where the studios are. Are the studios open during the hours of the Fiesta?
They're not, but you can walk.
They're not open on weekends?
Well, they close down during the Fiesta.
They close down during Fiesta,
Right.
okay.
But you can still walk through the school. So you can walk into the courtyards in between where the studios are. And you can I guess they have people, he said somebody tried to break into a bathroom, banging on the bathrooms, trying to get them unlocked. So they just would appreciate some crowd control, I think, in that area.
They couldn't put signs up? Public restrooms are not for public use?
They could, or, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do that during a lot of activities.
I could suggest that to them.
Is their
for that
gates
one.
locked?
Mm-hmm.
Are they locked during that?
There's
They're not
no,
locked.
there's no gating that separates that asphalt area from the buildings.
Let me suggest, Joe, that possibly a condition of approval for the permit would be to put up some, barricades with signs saying, studios closed, for public, use. Just something so that the applicant is responsible for doing the notification and securing the area. Also, on the public parking lot off of Elm, the applicant is also responsible for coordinating with Studio Channel Islands, and so that communication and coordination needs to be made, and the permit needs to state that. Also, the grass area in front of the grass area in front of the school, if in fact rides are being placed there or cabling, again, that needs to be coordinated with Studio Channel Islands, and a notation should be made in the permit.
All right?
No.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, so I think that does get us down to item, believe it's J. Do we have a approval of item J on
And
consent?
there's people in the audience. Do they want to talk?
Oh, Mr. Morgan, would you like to come up and talk? Sure. Yeah, I believe the microphone is on.
You'll have to excuse me, I haven't been down here in a long time. A lot of those questions you're saying have been answered and were answered. And the ways of going into that art area are blocked off by yellow tape. And also there are porta potties in the back. As you go out the door of the gallery into their grass area, there's porta potties right there. And everybody knows this. We notify the art gallery that they know that we're putting the trash things in the back. They're in the far back on the end. And when you don't have many vendors or artists there's not a lot of artists in there those days, not at all. And what happened is when someone parks back there where they're going to put the big trailers with all the trash cans and all that stuff, they come in and park in those spaces, and you're going, so you have to go find them and say, you've got to move because these big trailers are coming in. Those are all open for you. And so we've handled all that. The part about the kids roaming through their, what would you call that? Their area in the grass, not many do that at all because they're out here. That's not going to go through there and go behind the rides. If you go out, you'll see it. If you ever come out and see the event itself, you'll notice that doesn't happen. I'm trying to think of some of the other concerns you had because we've gone through these and answered these over the years. We tell them where things are going on. We communicate with the group there at the Channel Islands a lot. There's no rides go on the grass, no vehicles that have electricity there on the cement, none of that. The grass is wide open, and we invite them to put on art shows if they want to put it out there. So people can see it, come by and buy art if they want to. So we've done our best to bend over and try to help them. And after the whole event's over, we go sweep and hand sweep. It's kind of crazy, but again, you have all the lines and things are checked out by the city and so on for the rides. That's not like they have to go check it out because they don't know where the lines would go to run the rides. So it's a lot of things you're hearing were things that sometimes I think they were doing it on purpose to park where the trash cans were going to go. The big trash cans, I mean big containers, because all the trash cans have to come out of one of the containers and be taken around the event. And we have a young ladies group that are high schoolers that go out and do that, and we reward them for putting out the trash cans the night, on Thursday night. And so they work hard on doing that stuff. Any questions about our event? Any more questions?
Go ahead and tell the dates again, just to make sure.
Well, Thursday, it begins on Thursday night, just the carnival alone by itself. And at that time, there's a significant reduction in the cost of a ride. And so we have tons of people. The whole street's full of cars, and kids mainly, but some adults because they're going along with their children and so on. And we know it's well over 1,000 people, because we know about the ticket sales. And you go out there and you see how crowded it is. They have fun, have a lot of fun. And then on Friday night, we have the carnival still going, but we also open up Dizdar Park. And we have two major bands playing down there at Dizdar Park. The beer garden and beer and wine garden is open.
Mike,
and
we got to, I want to get back to, we got a couple questions before we get.
Okay, I was just answering her question about what's
But the
going on.
dates are July
Yeah.
16, July 18 through 21.
Yes.
That was all you needed.
Okay. Dates, that's what it is.
That's important.
And
We
this
just
is
gotta-
bigger than last year. I'm telling you, and the last year is the biggest one. Go ahead.
We just got a couple of questions here. So I'm going to start with Mr. Mulchay, and then Mr. Tremblay also had a question.
So just for clarification, Mr. Morgan, so the additional conditions for permit approval outlined by the city manager, I kind of got it from your answer that those won't be an issue.
Never
that
has
you're-
been an
that
issue.
You're able to conform.
That's usually what we've abided by anyway.
Okay.
So that's no issue at all. Our only big problem is cleaning up the next day.
Mr. Mulchay, anything else?
I guess just rephrasing it, Mr. Morgan, you have no objection to the permit conditions being revised to reflect those three items.
Could you repeat a couple of those conditions? Because most of them, we do it anyway. I talked to the Channel Islands about where things are going, so they can notify everybody.
I'm just trying to cut to the chase and
Okay. I
in terms
need
of
to
the
know
permit
those.
conditions themselves.
Could I hear those one more time from City Manager?
Sure. So first is that the Fiesta staff will coordinate placement of signs that the SCIArt's patio areas and breezeways are closed to the public and restrooms are closed to the public. And the Fiesta staff will coordinate with SCIArt's management on the back parking area and parking lot, and that the grassy area in front of the SCIArt's primary studio will not be used for rides and electrical cabling.
Most of that's exactly what we do, so I can abide by that, yes.
Any else questions? I had one other comment. I believe, Ms. Santangelo, that the point person at SCIArt, I think, is Peter. Is
Peter
that-
Tyus, correct.
So I might make a suggestion is maybe that instead of talking to a lot of several people, perhaps you can sit down with Peter and make sure that he will be the point person. With
Oh, he is the point person, because he controls the art galleries too.
Right.
And so I talk with him directly, and that's why I know he knows about the cans. And he helped me get people to move, by the way.
He found out when that happened. He did not know about that ahead of time, which is why people had to be pulled out to move their cars.
Well, no,
So all
they
I'm
knew about it
asking-
ahead of time, because he told them. He notified them. And that's why he went out there with me and said, yeah, you got to move.
Okay, well, I'll let him know that he remembered that wrong.
Well, I think the suggestion tonight perhaps would be to have Peter and Mr. Morgan converse one-on-one so we know and they know exactly what the situation is this particular year.
And then internal communication with them is up to whoever at SCIArt is notified to notify all of those people that parking will be different those 3 days.
Yeah, that's correct.
We have been operating to, Peter and I have been communicating, and a lot of those big boards that holds up the artwork, we gave them a bunch the other day that were going to be taken away and destroyed. They were at the firehouse, so we gave them those. I've called him and said, you would like these. So we've been working with Peter.
Good. That's the suggestion. Okay, is he Mr. Mulchay?
Two more quick questions. How do you anticipate this year's event going relative to prior years?
This year is a little bit more difficult because, I mean, I don't want to be president, but when your other president quit and gone and the others don't want to be, because it's a lot of work. And my wife and I, since 1987, have been, you don't know what we've been through. Anyway, it's been more difficult to get donations this year than ever because of the, I just looked at it and I did, I'm about where I was last year, but it was much harder to get the same donations. Example, I won't tell you who they are, but one gave me $3,000 every year. Well, now it's 15. Another one gave me 15. It was 1,000. That's the way it went across the board. And if you talk to other nonprofits, they're going to tell you the same thing. It's more difficult this year for some reason. But I had to do a little more work, like go to 60 different places. And I think I've got as much or more than I got last year. But we have also got a bigger event now. We've added some more things.
And I know following the Fiesta every year, the Camarillo Fiesta Association makes donations to different organizations and groups throughout the community. Do you anticipate, or do you know how much that might be this year?
The whole goal, one of our, what do you call it, not our monitor, what do you call that thing that we do in the city? It's our, It's what our goal is, okay? We raise money for the youth, always have. And this year we'll probably be giving out about $25,000 again. Football players clean, 55 of them and coaches, clean up the thing after it's over. The band cleans up the carnival grounds. The water polo team at Camarillo High, they clean up 2 days in a row with a golf court. Some are stacking, some are taking up there and dumping them, but they get a good share of the money. The Boys and Girls Club get money. What was else? Oh yeah, we give money to the Pleasant Valley School District because we're using their grounds and they don't charge us. We have to just pay insurance, that's it. But we decided to give them a good chunk of money for allowing us to use their grounds.
This is in response to their allowing you to use their property, and for the others for giving it to the organization for the work their members provide?
We changed our policy years ago as a city council that said, so it wouldn't be a pass-through from the city as grants, that it would be, we had to work for it. So everything I'm telling you works for the money. The other thing is we give, who is it? One more. Oh, Boys and Girls Club. Well, he's out there working all day long at the information booth, selling raffle tickets and things that we do to help earn money. So it's one of those that everyone works and the community's all involved. Rotary Club, Knights of Columbus, we got the Chinese Americans Club for the Ventura County. A whole lot of nonprofits are involved in this event and taking place.
Okay.
Okay, we had over 100 cars last year. Had to turn them away. Now I got an extra area for some more.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, do you want?
Yeah, do you have
just
any
one?
other
Yeah, one more quick question. In terms of continuity, what do you see the future of the Fiesta being? Yeah, you mentioned that you don't really want to be president moving forward. So what's on the docket for the year after this?
A lot of things have to happen. If we don't give enough money this year to carry over, so we can pay money out when we first start, because you have to put money up front. Mm-hmm. Not just your insurance, but the bands and others. And we are spending 20-something thousand in 10 bands, or 20 bands, excuse me. That's pretty good, tell you the truth. We got 20 bands for 20, you got 4 for 60. And then some of these bands played out there. And so we've done a good job of doing that all these years and keeping the prices down. If we haven't got this sufficient amount of money next year, and we have to also look at what the city's going to do with the park. You know, what kind of...
You're talking about Dizdar.
Yeah, okay. What kind of actions you're going to take there, and how would it disturb the putting on of the Fiesta period? Because you also you're looking at the hill there in Old Town. What happens if you start working on those this next year? We're looking at other options, and there's the option of going at the airport.
Are you looking at recruiting additional board members then?
We've got 18 real hard workers.
Okay.
But I'd love to have more, sure, because we got a lot of work for you to do. But if we go out to the airport, we can take the carnival out there with us. And I went to, any of you go to the Cajun Festival at all? Anyone? Okay, Cajun Festival is actually better than Strawberry Festival, in my opinion. You've got 3 major ball diamonds. It goes around like that. You have 3 stages. I mean, these aren't just stages. These are things people are under academy, you know, where you're protected from the sun. And they have 3 stages, entertainment all the time. They have, man, the kind of food you won't believe. It's great food, and a lot of it. And then they have the vendors. Well, they have no other entertainment. We've got a carnival. We've got a car show. We've got vendors. We've got 2 entertainment stages. You want me to keep going? And this year, one thing new.
Did you get, yeah.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have,
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor.
questions?
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Morgan.
I
Keep going.
appreciate it, Mr. Morgan. Very good information. Okay, is there any other questions or anything?
Council, I just want to correct something that Mr. Morgan said. Mr. Morgan said that our concert series is paying $60,000 for bands. That is totally incorrect. The PVRPD has contracted all the bands, and it is significantly less than what the CAC paid for bands previously. So that $60,000 that he threw out for bands is totally incorrect.